Welcome to a special series of the 5-Minute Biographies podcast from 5minutebiographies.com, where we tell you interesting things about interesting people in about 5 minutes. While we get ready for season 21 of the regular series, we are bringing you the second special series on United States presidents, with a brand new episode every weekday across 10 episodes, covering presidents 11 through 20. If you enjoy the show and would like to support us, why not consider buying us a coffee? Just head to 5minutebiographies.com/coffee to find out more. This is episode 5, James Buchanan. James Buchanan, the 15th President of the United States, was born on the 23rd of April, 1791 in Cove Gap, Pennsylvania. He was the second of 11 children born to James Buchanan Sr., a successful businessman and merchant, and Elizabeth Spear Buchanan. His father, an immigrant from Ireland, worked hard to build a prosperous life for his family, and James grew up in relative comfort. The Buchanans later moved to Mercersburg, Pennsylvania, where young James received his early education. As a child, Buchanan showed great intellectual promise and was encouraged by his parents to pursue his studies. He attended the Old Stone Academy before enrolling at Dickinson College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Though he was an intelligent student, he developed a reputation for mischief and rebellious behavior, leading to a brief suspension. However, he ultimately graduated with honors in 1809 at the age of 18. Following his graduation, Buchanan moved to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, to study law under the guidance of prominent attorney James Hopkins. He was admitted to the bar in 1812 and quickly established a successful legal practice. His keen mind, persuasive arguments, and strong work ethic earned him recognition as one of Pennsylvania's most promising young lawyers. Buchanan's political career began in 1814 when he was elected to the Pennsylvania House of Representatives as a Federalist. His tenure in the state legislature allowed him to develop connections and gain experience in public service. However, as the Federalist Party declined, Buchanan shifted his allegiance to the Democratic-Republican Party, which later evolved into the Democratic Party. His political career gained momentum when he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1820, serving 5 terms. In Congress, he supported policies that promoted economic development, westward expansion, and states' rights. His ability to navigate complex political issues and his diplomatic skills made him a respected figure in Washington. After leaving the House of Representatives in 1831, Buchanan briefly served as the U.S. Minister to Russia under President Andrew Jackson. His time in Russia allowed him to refine his diplomatic skills, and he successfully negotiated a key trade agreement. Upon his return to the United States, he was elected to the U.S. Senate in 1834, where he served for over a decade. As a senator, Buchanan aligned himself with the Democratic Party and became an advocate for limited federal government and the expansion of slavery into new territories. In 1845, President James K. Polk appointed Buchanan as Secretary of State, a position that allowed him to play a significant role in shaping American foreign policy. He supported the annexation of Texas, the Oregon boundary dispute settlement with Britain, and the expansionist policies that led to the Mexican-American War. Buchanan's tenure as Secretary of State reinforced his reputation as a skilled diplomat and statesman. Following his service in Polk's administration, Buchanan returned to private life, but remained politically active. In 1853, President Franklin Pierce appointed him as Minister to the United Kingdom, a role in which he was involved in the controversial Ostend Manifesto, a proposal that suggested the US should acquire Cuba, even by force if necessary. Though the manifesto was widely criticized, Buchanan's diplomatic experience strengthened his credentials as a potential presidential candidate. By 1856, the United States was deeply divided over the issue of slavery. The Democratic Party saw Buchanan as a candidate who could appeal to both Northern and Southern voters. He had been out of the country during the turbulent debates over the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which had inflamed sectional tensions, allowing him to present himself as a unifying figure. He won the presidency, defeating Republican John C. Fremont and former President Millard Fillmore, who ran as the candidate of the American Party. On the 4th of March, 1857, Buchanan took office, but his presidency was immediately overshadowed by growing divisions over slavery. Just 2 days after his inauguration, the Supreme Court issued the Dred Scott decision, which ruled that African Americans had no rights as citizens and that Congress could not prohibit slavery in the territories. Buchanan publicly supported the ruling, believing it would settle the issue of slavery once and for all. However, the decision only deepened sectional tensions and outraged Northern abolitionists. One of Buchanan's greatest failures was his handling of the crisis in Kansas. The territory had become a battleground between pro-slavery and anti-slavery settlers, leading to violent clashes. Buchanan endorsed the pro-slavery Lecompton Constitution, which aimed to admit Kansas as a slave state despite widespread opposition. His support for the measure further alienated Northern Democrats and strengthened the Republican Party, which opposed the expansion of slavery. Throughout his presidency, Buchanan attempted to maintain peace between the North and South, but his passive approach only allowed tensions to escalate. He believed that secession was unconstitutional, but also argued that the federal government had no power to prevent it. As the 1860 election approached, the Democratic Party fractured, leading to the victory of Republican candidate Abraham Lincoln. In response, Southern states began seceding from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America. Buchanan, unwilling to take decisive action, left the crisis for his successor to resolve. By the time Buchanan left office on the 4th of March 1861, the nation was on the brink of civil war. His inaction and failure to address the root causes of the sectional crisis led many to view his presidency as one of the weakest in American history. He retired to his estate, Wheatland, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where he spent the remainder of his life defending his record and arguing that his policies had been misunderstood. Despite his efforts to restore his reputation, history has largely judged Buchanan harshly. His inability to prevent the secession of Southern states and his failure to address the growing divide over slavery cemented his legacy as an ineffective leader during one of the most critical periods in U.S. history. James Buchanan died on the 1st of June 1868 at the age of 77 at his home in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He was buried in Woodward Hill Cemetery. His presidency remains a subject of debate, with many historians ranking him among the least effective U.S. presidents. While he possessed considerable experience and diplomatic skill, his reluctance to confront the nation's deepening crisis ultimately defined his legacy. Thanks for listening to this special episode of the 5-Minute Biographies podcast. Don't forget, a new episode will be released every weekday during this series, so be sure to follow or subscribe to catch them all. And the regular 5-Minute Biographies series will be returning soon with Season 21. If you would like to support the show, you can buy us a coffee at 5minutebiographies.com/coffee. See you next time.